Hello and welcome to QuickNet. So we're going to run through an example of how to train a model on QuickNet. So in this case, we are going to take a few Amazon reviews, and as you can see here, the sentiment is either 0 or 1. So we're going to try and predict the sentiment. There's only two options. Think of 1 as positive, think of 0 as negative or neutral. And I'm just going to show you how fast we can get some predictions happening. So again, I just have the CSV. It has 3 columns, but only 2 that we really need, the sentence one and the sentiment one. So I'm going to come into QuickNet. I'm going to create a new project. We support 2 different kinds of machine learning models today. One is text-based and one is tabular-based. So think of text. If you have a sentence or a few sentences or paragraphs, and you're trying to predict some kind of discrete output like a 1 or a 0 or like a category, right? So if I wanted to say, is this support message, should this be routed to engineering, customer success, etc., that would be a text project. Tabular data and a tabular project, think about it more like normal data in a database. So some columns are numbers, some are like short little pieces of text, maybe 1 word, maybe 2 word. That would be tabular data. So we're going to create a text data project in this case, and I'm going to upload my CSV. This CSV file is quite small. There's only 200 rows in here. So ideally you'd want a bit more, but for the purposes of the demo, this will do just fine. So now I can come in and I can start to manage my data set. So this sentiment column is the one that I want to try and predict on. So we had some default ones in here. We had sentence and we had label. Those are just given for you, but you can click manage your data set to clean that up. So in this case, we don't care about D. That was just the index. Sentiment is the one that we're trying to predict. It's a number, and we can kill label. So now if we go back to our spreadsheet, here we have our sentences and our sentiment, just like in our CSV file that we uploaded. The verified column is just a way for you to make sure that if you want to run a process like this where one person is uploading or annotating the data and somebody else is going back through and verifying that, you can. You would step into our annotation environment and a bunch of people could sit on that annotation environment and pull different records and just verify them before it goes into training, just to make sure that you have a really clean data set. But in our case, we're not going to do that. So I'm just going to click verify all. What else is nice here is you can see these sentiment counts. So as 0, we have either negative or neutral. Again, it's kind of combined into 1 here. 96 counts, and we have 102. So this is a pretty balanced data set. So that's great. That's exactly what you want. So I've gone ahead and verified all of them. So now we have 198 that are annotated and 198 that are verified. And that's what we need to be able to go to the next step, which will actually be training the model. Because again, we're going to be skipping the annotation piece. But you can just come in here into the annotation piece and it'll say, you know, all the data has been annotated and verified. If it wasn't, again, you could come in here and see, you could see one of these options. So maybe we'll take one of these verified. I could come into annotate here and then I can mark this as verified and then go back to training my model. So training is pretty straightforward. We can just click start a new training session. And what this is going to do is it's going to automatically go out and try and figure out the right type of machine learning model to use. And so you can see it's already in progress, and this is just going to take a few seconds. So now that the model has completed training, you can see here it took just over a minute. We can kind of go into the model itself and just take a look at some logs, make sure everything's okay. And we see we got an accuracy score of 72.5%. So pretty good given that the data set is quite small, but let's get the most important part in here now. We actually have an API endpoint automatically deployed where we can go use our model, or what we can do is just upload another CSV and just go inference against it. So here's new sentences that we've never predicted before, and we're going to run them against the model. So just like that, all of our columns have been, or our sentiment has been predicted on new data that it hasn't seen before. You can see the status is complete, and I can even download a CSV. The alternative is to hit the endpoint with this API key, which you're also welcome to do to send batch inference requests against your new machine learning model.